All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Welcome to the boardroom. Today, I am stepping into the role of your managing director, and we are conducting a full, totally unsparing C-suite grade proposal audit on your specific approach to Cambridge 9709 mathematics. More specifically, we are hyper-focusing our audit on Section 3.4, Differentiation, which, crucially, includes the derivative of inverse tan. Now look, in the corporate world, you do not walk into a high-stakes pitch with a half-baked strategy. And you absolutely do not walk into a Cambridge examination without a bulletproof, rigidly tested structural framework. Today, we are going to treat every single mark on that exam paper as a direct return on investment. I'm going to show you exactly how to architect your mathematical arguments, how to deploy your data analytics, and how to utilize corporate-level evaluative reasoning to impress the absolute toughest auditors in the world. And who are they? The Cambridge examiners, of course. I need you to pause and consider the sheer scale of the market opportunity we are discussing right now. This specific module, 3.4 differentiation, accounts for approximately 15% of the total marks in your entire examination. I mean, really think about that for a second. That is a massive market share. It is a highly, highly valuable asset in your academic portfolio. If you were managing a multi-million-dollar hedge fund, you wouldn't just leave 15% of your capital completely exposed to unnecessary risk, would you? No way, absolutely not. Yet time and time again, I see candidates treating differentiation like it's some low-tier expendable commodity. Well, we are going to completely change that mindset today. We are going to actively secure that 15% valuation by ruthlessly stripping out the vulnerabilities in your problem-solving process. So we've got a tight briefing itinerary today to systematically analyze exactly how you can secure maximum executive value from these high-tariff mathematics questions. We'll kick things off with a boardroom briefing, deconstruct a failing liability proposal, install a structural power-up, calibrate our valuation strategies, run a strict compliance audit, and finally close the deal. Section 1, the boardroom briefing. Let's get your theoretical foundations locked in. The conceptual framework for this topic demands that you satisfy three distinct cognitive domains. You need to be treating every single method mark as a direct return on investment through systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning. See, the examiners are tracking three core metrics. First is knowledge and understanding. That's your base capital. For instance, do you know, right off the top of your head, that the derivative of inverse tan of x is 1 over 1 plus x squared? If not, you're bankrupt before you even start. Next is application. Can you deploy that capital into a complex multi-part scenario? And finally, analysis. Can you break down the rate of change in a real-world mathematical model and actually interpret the data? If your exam response only shows basic knowledge but totally fails to apply or analyze it, well, your valuation remains stuck at the entry-level band. To reach the C-suite, you literally have to dominate all three of these domains. Moving on to Section 2, deconstructing a liability. It is time to spot the weakness. I want you to picture this. We're in the prep room, and I've got two junior consultants on my team, Alex and Sam. Now, Alex is the kind of consultant who provides massive volumes of raw factual data, but completely fails to evaluate the actual market risks. There's zero evaluation. Sam, on the other hand, is a fast talker who pitches brilliant creative concepts, but totally lacks hard asset backing. No specific textbook case studies, no concrete formulas. Both of their proposals, quite frankly, are massive liabilities. This brilliantly illustrates the difference between a low-value proposal that is far too vague and an A-star asset that uses exact details and correct terminology. If I project a high-tariff, multi-part Cambridge question on the board, and Alex and Sam hand over a vague, descriptive text block that completely misses the core command word, our valuation crashes instantly. The Cambridge marking grid is totally unforgiving. Missing a single keyword like exact value or show that triggers an immediate markdown. An executive analytical pitch, however, leaves absolutely no room for ambiguity. It uses correct mathematical terminology, defines variables clearly, and executes the derivative with clinical, undeniable precision. As the principal examiner explicitly warns, you must always define your mathematical terminology before deploying it to avoid critical compliance breaches in your extended responses. You have to treat the principal examiner as the ultimate regulatory auditor in this scenario. When they release the reports, they are literally handing you the cheat sheet to the audit. And they consistently note the candidates confuse key terminology, or worse, they drop constant factors when applying the chain rule to inverse tan functions. Like they'll forget to multiply by the derivative of the inner function. It's a classic rookie mistake. If you don't define your terms or show your intermediate steps, you are effectively hiding your financial workings from the auditor. And let me tell you, in this boardroom, hidden workings equals 0 method marks. All right, Section 3, the structural power-up. Let's build out your technical methodology. So, think back to my associates, Alex and Sam. They're backstage right now, desperately trying to merge their respective assets to create the ultimate joint venture answer paragraph. And they are just going at it, debating the structural architecture of their layout. Alex is arguing, we need to overload the opening with technical dictionary definitions, show them we know the theory. But Sam pushes back hard, arguing, no, we have to pivot immediately into an analytical counter-argument framework to maximize our return on investment. They're both missing the bigger picture. We need to stop, take a breath, and use this exact operational framework. Step 1, deconstruct the question. What is the command word actually asking for? Step 2, extract the relevant data. Isolate the specific functions you need to differentiate. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Is this a product rule situation or a chain rule involving inverse tan, where you must multiply by the derivative of the inner function? And step 4, execute with absolute clarity. Write it line by line so the examiner can effortlessly track your logic.
Your data interpretation absolutely must follow strict conventions. Proper headings, appropriate formats, and clear annotation are entirely non-negotiable for passing this compliance audit. Let's be real here. Messy working out is a massive corporate liability. When you are presenting your solution for 3.4 differentiation, your mathematical notation is your professional attire. If you drop your dx midway through a line, or you misalign your equal signs so they're drifting all over the page, you are essentially walking into the boardroom in sweatpants. Use appropriate formats, lay out your algebraic manipulation cleanly, and always annotate your steps if the question demands a proof. This is exactly how you demonstrate professional competence to the examiner.
Which brings us to Section 4, Valuation Strategies. It's time for our mid-pitch reboot. But hey, before we see if your response can secure a top-band valuation, we need to ensure your personal academic assets are properly managed. Go ahead and subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle at Ace the Exams right now, and make sure you turn on all notifications. No matter if your focus is Cambridge IGCSE, O-Levels, AS, or A-Levels, this channel is your guaranteed weekly board seat to secure elite grades. Consider it your ongoing corporate training program for total academic dominance. Okay, let's look at Cambridge's higher-order assessment objectives. They demand that you elevate your pitch from merely descriptive to fully evaluative, questioning assumptions and justifying your mathematical decisions with hard evidence. Just look at this matrix. If your answer is purely descriptive, like you're just stating basic factual data or jotting down a formula without applying it correctly, you are operating at the absolute entry level. It's low value. To move up to analytical, you need to show the actual process, perhaps evaluating alternative methods to find a gradient. But the true C-suite executive level, that's evaluative. This is where we bring in the Peel framework. Point, evidence, evaluation, link. You make your mathematical point, you show the hard algebraic evidence, you evaluate what that stationary point actually means in the context of the model, and you link it perfectly back to the question's core constraints. When conducting comparative analysis within this framework, you must identify both similarities and differences using comparative connectives to maximize your mark accumulation. Now, you might be thinking, this is pure math, we don't write comparative essays. And you're right, but this logic applies perfectly when a question asks you to verify a result or compare the rates of change of two different variables connected by a parameter. You must draw direct, evidence-based conclusions. Saying something like, because the derivative is greater than 0 for all x, the function is strictly increasing. That right there is a rock-solid evaluative conclusion based on hard, undeniable mathematical evidence. All right, Section 5, the Compliance Audit. It's time for the live interactive challenge. The principal examiner reports highlight these 3 major exploits that consistently ruin evaluations: vague answers lacking specific details, completely neglected presentation, and a total lack of specific context. I want you to imagine a live venture audit challenge right now. Picture a 60-second countdown timer ticking down on your screen. You have a highly complex Cambridge text case study data layout in front of you. Assessment 1 is the asset inventory scan. You have to extract the highest value data point, but then comes Assessment 2, spot the liability. We see candidates who correctly differentiate the inverse tan function, but then, bam, they fail to multiply by the derivative of the inner function. It's a classic chain rule error masked by messy presentation. We see candidates who find a beautiful numerical value for a rate of change, but entirely forget to include the units required by the specific context of the question. These are totally unforced errors. It's the equivalent of a CEO leaving a multi-million-dollar contract sitting on the public printer. So, to seamlessly secure your points and avoid these massive liabilities, I want you to always remember to audit your FACTS. That is, check your format, accuracy, context, and terminology.
I want you to mentally run this scan before you finalize any high-tariff question. Is your format logical and flowing? Is your algebraic accuracy double-checked for dropped negatives? Have you applied the final answer to the specific context of the model, and did you use the precise mathematical terminology required? If my junior associates Alex and Sam had just used this simple FACTS hack, their combined proposal would have bypassed the examiner's red pen entirely.
And finally, Section 6, Securing the Deal. We are ready to compile our assets. Your ultimate A-star asset relies on perfectly balancing 3 core corporate pillars. First is the due diligence scan for decoding. This means taking the actual time to truly read and absorb the constraints of the 3.4 differentiation problem. Don't just jump in, decode it. Second is the resource allocation matrix for timing. Look, you cannot afford to spend 20 minutes on a basic 3-mark question. You have to manage your exam time exactly like a finite corporate budget. And the third pillar is the final compliance audit checklist, which is actively deploying our FACTS system to ensure absolutely no silly algebraic errors dilute your final valuation. When Alex and Sam finally balance these 3 pillars, their newly engineered response paragraph hits the maximum A-star mark. The executive value meter hits the roof. The market opportunity of that 15% mark allocation is right there. It is yours for the taking. But you have to ask yourself, will your next paper pass the audit? The tools are entirely in your hands now. The theoretical foundations and the rigid procedural methodologies have been laid out for you. You know exactly what the principal examiners are hunting for, and you know exactly how to protect your assets from unnecessary deductions. So, to guarantee your success and keep your skills razor sharp, subscribe to Ace the Exams, enable the notification bell for our weekly board sessions, and I want you to drop a comment below stating your target grade, your qualification tier, and your subject. Commit to it right now. The boardroom is waiting. Are you ready to claim your valuation? I'll see you in the next explainer.